Sorry, the mosquitoes are really bad today.
You're at camp?
Yeah, I'm sitting at the outside table at Gazebo right now. I got up to about 83 up here today. It was pretty nice.
Well, there he is. Make a liar out of me.
Oh, look at that. We're all here. Okay. The president is not going to be here tonight. He's excused sick. So I would like to call this meeting to order for Triangle Recreation Camp. It's Tuesday, May 12th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Sorry, 7:03 p.m. And I call this meeting to order. I'd like to start roll call. Stuart Daniels is excused. Michael Thompson's present. Gary Greenwald is present. Charlie Hill is present. Craig Maynard is present. Josh Nye is present. Gail Scheschler is present. Simon Andrew is present. Lawrence Cumming is present. AJ Darter is present. Michael Ferris is present. Danny Rohall is present. Dee Wilden is present. And Brandon Weston is present. I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Have a second. Seconded by Lawrence. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries.
You're not videoed here. Your video is turned off.
And we currently have no resignation or appointments that I'm aware of. And we'll be moving on to the Executive Board of Director reports. Starting with the President's office, he notified me that he had nothing new to report for this meeting. And that was the end of his announcements. And I will move to my announcements. Give me 1 second. And I'm sorry I didn't get a report out. It's been a hectic last couple of days with moving stuff around and being on and off the grounds. But just briefly, the power distribution system is up and running. Thanks to Josh Nye, and I'd like to really call him out here for this. He went around and found some problems we were having, and in doing so, he found 200 foot of our main wire that had been stuffed under a cabin and had been there for quite some time. And now we have an overabundance of cable to run stuff around the campground. So thank you, Josh, for that.
They don't have access to edit the page, right?
The water system, we've received the first 5 tests back, and they came back negative. Everything is good. However, I have not received the second set, and so we still do not have water open, potable water open. And as soon as we get results from that, I will let everybody know. Lower campground update. This weekend, we're having a work party for the lower campground. It's going to be to set up some new tables, spread some gravel, and also to spread bark dust around in areas of the campground that are muddy or that need a little bit of raising and keep the tents out of the water. We're up lower campground. We're still collaborating with the development team on the reclamation of tent sites within old site 11. And we're identifying other areas for improvement throughout the lower campground. And I'll let Gary touch on that more when we get to his section. We had one security incident over the last 2 weeks. We had a member who had been served with a no trespass notice who came on the campground. An official incident report was filed. Fortunately, there was no injuries. Gail, can you mute your microphone for me, please?
1 minute, Mike. So if the streaming, my access is still restricted for some reason, and I can't get it to stream.
You can get it to stream, you just can't embed it in the web page.
Oh, no.
Josh, can you help them with that?
Yep, stand by. And someone put the YouTube link in the chat, or I'll find it.
Yeah, someone was supposed to block that, and it didn't happen.
Somebody could post that into the web page that has access. I'll put it in chat.
It's in chat.
Well, the YouTube site is running.
Yeah, I haven't noticed.
Yeah, I can see. I just looked myself. I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are streaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and has the link been posted on the membership page? Anyone?
I'm sorry?
Has the link been posted on the membership page for the YouTube stream?
Did you see it, Tom?
Which page are we posted on the front page? I
I'm
can do
doing
it.
that right. No, it's just the
Okay.
April page right now. I'm editing it right now. Stand by, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, we are. The YouTube link has been posted. We are good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Okay, so
Make sure you have access now.
okay, so we're all good, right?
Yes, good to go. Good to continue.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry, with the security situation, there were no injuries and the situation was resolved by myself and the VPMR. And then my last part of this report for this week is safety and maintenance. We had a live tree fall on an unoccupied deck into the woods. The tree came from NGPA and came directly down, and the end of the tree hit the deck. I just making this notice. It's kind of a highlight of what's going on around the forest this year with all the weird weather, dry and wet, is that with a little bit of wind coming through here, it's possible that we're going to lose some trees. And so everybody just needs to keep their heads up and be aware of the situation around the forest right now, because it's still kind of dangerous. So, and that is the end of my report, and I will take any questions for operations. No questions?
I saw Millie's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Millie?
I don't have a question. I have a comment.
Okay,
I
please.
want to give big, huge kudos to Mike and to Matt. They've been working their friggin' butts off. I appreciate everything they're doing so much, and everybody needs to buy them a beer or give them an edible or something. They've really been working very, very hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay, Gary, it's all you, sir.
Yeah, hi everybody. Let's see, let me just run through my agenda here. Let's touch on the lower campground. The fence that goes around the culvert is mostly done. It's sufficient for the safety purposes. There are a few things we need to finish up, but it'll be fine for the party as far as security and all that. We are in the process of posting the NGPA slash CAPA. They have some different sign verbiage, but we'll be installing those around the lower campground. I hope to finish doing that this weekend. Also, we're posting some camping signs in the overflow to try to get a better use of the overflow area, so that we can more efficiently, put the camp tent sites in there. I'm working or suggesting that maybe we do a banner for the host hut that goes over the food storage procedures. Mike, you sent out a letter to the board about that. And I'm thinking that maybe it might be a good situation to do a banner that hangs on the host hut down below, outlining some of those procedures and stuff, just to remind everybody what needs to be done now with the food storage. Uh, I'll draft something out and send it out to everybody and see what they think. Make changes or not do it, but it's something I just thought maybe we could consider. I'm also wondering if maybe we might have a small sheet. We may be doing this, I'm not sure, but once somebody has selected a site in the lower campground, maybe they can have a sheet that they put the site number and their name and give it to the host hut. So in case we have a security issue, we will be able to contact the individual and know where they are down below. Uh, I don't know if they do that when they do the parking passes, but it's just something to consider. I'm just throwing out there for something to think about. Um, Relocating the lost sites, tent sites from 11. Um, to be official, we need to do what's called a land use project meeting. Um, I'll go over that a little bit later, but it's a meeting that we set up with the county and give them all the information about the locations that we want to put the lost sites on. Uh, their indication was, I see a couple hands there, I'll get to you. Their indication was as long as we're not doing a major amount of land disturbing, that it will be okay. But I kind of want to do this project meeting to get an official approval from them. Um, let's see, Mike, uh, Millie, did you have your hand up? Did you have a question real quick?
I think for that, what we should do for the food is maybe we print out instructions on quarter pages and we hand those out to people
Okay.
as when they check in, so that they can't say that they didn't get it.
Okay, cool. I can draft up something and send it out.
Yeah, and I can get
Um,
it printed if you want.
okay. Eric, did you have something?
I was going to suggest the same thing since we're making a dramatic change from the storage units to a different requirement is each camper that is registered gets that sheet of paper. And so that way each person has it. So in case that same situation that Millie just said.
I think that's a great idea.
Actually, to follow up on that, Josh, can't we change the email so that when people register, we could let them know that they aren't there anymore and that they should plan to bring more coolers to make sure that all their stuff is secured in a in something that can lock?
If somebody just wants to send me verbiage, I can update that email.
Okay.
And then we can also, I can send an email to anybody who has already registered for overnight camping, informing them of that same verbiage. I'll include it in if somebody wants to send me the verbiage, I'll include it in the email that goes out. And I will also change, and I'll send it to anybody who's already registered.
We should probably also update it on the main page. It's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, it'll be everywhere.
I'll draft something out and send it out to everybody.
I have a point of order.
Yeah.
We haven't approved this as a board yet. I failed to talk about it in my section, so we can either bring it up now and talk about it and vote on it, or we can do it at the end of the meeting.
Let's do it at the end if that's okay with you.
That's
I'll
fine.
finish up my stuff. Is that
Table
all
it to
right?
the end of the meeting. Yeah, let's table it to the end of the meeting.
To the end of my report, maybe.
Okay,
Okay.
we can do that too.
I'm working on the solar panel structure down in the lower. It was destroyed in the trees when the trees came down, so we're rebuilding that. Probably won't have that ready for the party, but shortly thereafter. Something that I'm considering that I'm going to throw out there is maybe having talk to the county about maybe a crosswalk or a pedestrian crossing sign by the Mountain Loop, on the Mountain Loop Highway, by the driveway in the path where people cross over to go from the upper to the lower. The cars come zipping by there, and it can be a bit hazardous. I did ask the county if that was something that they would be willing to do. I didn't set it in motion or anything, but they're going to get back to me and let me know if they're even willing to do it. But if we get to that point, I'll present it to the board and we can make a decision whether we want to do it. My concern was it's just, the cars go zipping by that area and it can't be an issue. Um, there is a tree, a dead tree, down kind of close to the driveway that goes down to the lower campground, and it's leaning over the Mountain Loop Highway. Um, it's something that Mike can't cut. It's just not something that he can deal with. I asked the county to take a look at it to see if that was something that they would remove for us because it's going to come down. I mean, it's just barely hanging on. And when it does, it's going to go right over the freeway, um, probably, in between the path and the driveway to the upper campground. And it could be a problem. If it's in the county right of way, they'll take care of it. And so they're going to look at it and let us know if that's something that they'll do. We're getting a generator for the potable water. It is ready to pick up. I'll be bringing it up this weekend. It has an auto start so that we can set up our automatic fill for the potable water. The main generator, I'm going to be establishing the operating hours. We can talk about that and decide what we want to do. We're going to have at least 3 consultants come up and give us recommendations on upgrading the power system. And then we can take a look at that. And then we can establish, a program of updating the system. We've already bought a couple new boxes. I'm anticipating that it'll be probably a 2, maybe a 3-year process. Derek, did you have a question?
Yeah, in regards to that tree that you just mentioned that
Yeah.
is on the Mountain Loop Road,
Right.
what risk does it pose to the fence that we just put in on the other side of the road?
Oh, well, you'd have to ask Mike Drake, but
Okay,
it's a pretty tall tree. And if it came down, it could hit the new fence.
okay,
It is possible.
It's possible. It's possible they
Yeah.
would cut across the road and then hit our either main gate or one of the 2
Mhm.
fences.
Yeah. I mean, in
okay.
that tree, I mean, it's dead. I'm surprised it stood up to the wind and stuff. Any other questions so far? Okay. Upper 40. The logging, the tree maintenance of the upper 40. I'm going to set up a walkthrough with the logging company. 1st of June, I want to get through this, um, you know, Labor Day party and all that. And sometime in June, we'll set up a walkthrough with the logging company. And I'll let people know if they want to join. The logging company says it takes about 2 weeks. They'll have one big long truck that they put the trees on. They'll have a pickup that the crew comes in. And then there's equipment that comes off that big logging truck and goes back and forth, cuts the trees and brings it down. There may be some heavy equipment that comes in at the beginning to cut the roads and stuff. We can go over all that with the logging company. It is possible that that long logging truck could park in the quarry, so it doesn't take up parking space, down in the regular parking area. We can talk about that. And then based on that, we can decide exactly when we want to do it. Um, my recommendation is that we get this process done. We create some areas for camping. I asked the county, what can we do with that cabin when it's zoned forestry? And she said that short-term overnight rentals is perfectly fine. She said there's no problem with that. Um, I don't think we want to get too crazy about doing it until it's officially rezoned, but she didn't have any problems with us using that area. What I'm suggesting we do is we fix up the cabin. We don't have to spend a lot of money. We've got the refrigerators and some of the stuff from the old trailers up there that we possibly make that cabin a common area. We don't want people sleeping in that cabin. That's just going to be, I think, too much for us to manage. But if we have some cleared areas that people can tent, um, and then we fix up the cabin as a camping area, um, we could use that as an event center. And the furries and the puppies would be interested in using that space. So, I mean, we can talk more, as we progress with this, as to the specifics of what we want to do and stuff on it. As far as rezoning, I talked with the county. We don't have to subdivide. So our thought was, okay, let's see here. How do I put this? So to rezone the whole 40 acres, the cost of rezoning is, there's a minimum and then it's a cost per acre. So I have to determine whether it's cheaper to just rezone the whole 40 acres or to just, section out that 6 acres and just rezone that. And then leave the rest of it in as forestry, because we're never going to use that area. It's undevelopable for us. But that 6 acres around the campsite or around the cabin, there is a lot of things we could do with it. The only thing is we do need to do a survey. So I got to get some pricing of that. And I've got to compare, the cost of the survey and then just doing the 6 acres compared to just rezoning the whole 40 acres, which we don't technically need a survey for. So I still got, some things to take a look at, pricing to look at, and I'll keep everybody, stated on what the best path would be to take care of that upper 40. Any questions so far? Okay. Tax liability. There is a possibility when we rezone from forestry to forestry recreation, that forestry, we get a discount in our taxes. And so the question I asked the Snohomish County auditors or whatever are they going to go back and make us pay the difference? Going back and make up that difference from the discount we got. If so, I have to take that into consideration when we do the rezoning. But that's something I'm just waiting for the auditors to get back to me and let me know whether that's something we have to make up the difference or not. Let's see here, new party site structure. Whatever we do at the party site is going to require permits. If it's over 400 square feet, it's going to require permits. We were looking at doing the containers with a roof over it because that's all connected. It's considered one structure, and we would have to permit it. The cost would probably be cheaper than doing, a pole barn, but we're still going to need permits for it. So that's just something to consider as we, look at some kind of a permanent structure for there. I do have the banners. I'm not sure if I'll have them ready for the first party, but we are starting a fund for that, for the party site, the permanent party site. We'll have some posters and and table, you know, plaques and stuff to get people start hopefully donating specifically for that uh, for the new party site. I did just check on shipping containers. If the shipping container is under 400 feet, we don't need a permit for whatever we do with them. So most of the, well, all of the shipping containers that we have on the site are under 400 square feet. So we don't have to worry about permits for those. The bridge. I think most people are aware of this, but we are, the bridge committee are looking into actually using a shipping container as the bridge. And there's companies out there that kind of retrofit them. And it's about roughly a third of the price than the gangplank one that we are looking at. So we could save some money. You know, I still have to kind of work with the county and permits and stuff like that to see exactly how it's going to all work out. And I'll keep everybody aware of how that's going. I'm really the bridge committee is really working hard to try to get that cost down because we started at 150,000. The committee was doing a really great job. I think we got that down to about 90,000, but it would sure be nice to get that down more because that's a lot of money for us to spend. I mean, we need it. We've got to do it. But I'm just really trying to look at ways to get the campground something that is a little bit more friendly to our budget, shall we say. Site 500. This weekend, after kind of I finish things up down below, we'll start working on repairing the stairs that go to the ranger station because those are falling apart. It's kind of hazardous, so going to work on replacing those stairs. Also, something to consider down the road. We kind of want some sort of a permanent structure, at least for the kitchen, and maybe for other eating areas. But for the kitchen, I'm thinking of maybe looking into a shipping container, maybe retrofitting it to something that might work for a kitchen. I don't know. We also were thinking about seeing if we could find like a food truck trailer that we could put in there. Anyhow, these are all options we're looking at. We'll keep people posted on what we find out. We are going to be finishing up extending the fire suppression to 500 and then down to the lower RV so that there's a fire suppression spigot down in the lower area. I don't really have a specific time as to when that'll be done, but sometime this year we'll finish that up. I'd like to touch a little bit on this land use project with the Snohomish County. So real quick, it costs $500. But what we can do is we can ask multiple questions. It's not a per project type thing. So we can gather our questions together, be it the bridge, be it replacing the tent sites on the lower, from what we lost at site 11, whatever else we want to ask, and we can sign up for the proper people at Snohomish County to come into the meeting and answer all these questions all at one time. I'd like to do that. I'd like to take that money out of the professional fees. I don't think I need a motion for that, do I? I don't think so. But I'm going to circulate and ask for, things that people want and would like to know, and we'll make a list. And then I'll sign up with the county and go over all these different issues so we have some really firm answers. I mean, even down to can we put cement? I mean, I have preliminary answers from these persons, but this will give us an opportunity to get this all down in writing. So if anybody has some questions, thoughts of the different things that they would like to have answered from the county, please let me know. And then once we've got this, I'll prepare a list, review it with everybody, and set up the appointment and stuff. And I think that's it. Any other questions?
Okay. There's no other questions. No other questions? Okay. Let's talk about this.
I see
Someone has his hand up.
Simon's hand up.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the hand.
No problem. Gary, about the fire suppression system, do we have a date on when the fire suppression water will be running? Because I noticed that it's not running on Trail 6, at least where I've tried it.
I don't. That's a Mike question. That's for me.
Oh, okay.
It should be running. Which is it at your spigot by Into the Woods? That's not working.
There's a tap that's into the woods that I usually get water.
I can go take a look at it and see what's going on with it.
Okay,
Mike,
sure.
I believe that one comes from the top tank that we might need to.
Oh, that's why. Okay. All right.
Ah.
Yes. The top tank is not full yet. I will get that taken care of.
That's
Water.
right. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, the
There is
top
a
tank.
tank up there that we have
Yep.
to fill.
So
okay.
I need to go get the water pump and go take it down to the other tank and pump water up
Mike,
to it.
I think we set that up so it doesn't need the water pump, but there's probably
okay.
some hoses.
Okay.
You and I can go over that. I went over that with Dana last year, and I think we rerouted the pipes so that we didn't have to do the pump.
Okay.
But
all right. I will go run up and take some pictures, and then we can talk about it over text or tomorrow if you got time.
I'm gonna walk up to the review team. I think I know how to do it too.
Okay. All right. That's good. Yeah, we'll get it fixed for you, Simon. I apologize. Any other questions? Okay, so let's talk about the proposed rule change that I sent in for the Green Book. It was an email I sent to the entire board. And I'll just read it really quick and we can discuss. So I'm making a motion that we change the Green Book for the lower campground only where it pertains to food storage rules, trash and waste management, and site sanitation. Basically, it reads, one, food storage at campsites. Due to the removal of the communal storage units in the lower campground, campers in this area are permitted to store food in their individual sites to prevent attracting wildlife. All food must be kept closed in enclosed latchable containers such as plastic storage tubs or insulated coolers. Food must remain in these containers at all times when not being actively prepared or consumed. Two, trash and waste management. We will maintain a strict policy regarding waste to ensure the lower campground remains clean. All trash, food scraps, and foiled food packaging must be removed from the campsite and taken to the designated dumpster immediately following the conclusion of a meal or at the minimum before the end of the night. And then site sanitation, which is the third part of this. It's because food is now stored in individual sites, cleanliness is our primary defense against pests. All cooking surfaces and tables and equipment must be wiped down and cleared of residue immediately after use. Leaving open food or unclean surfaces unattended in the lower campground is prohibited. And the reason I'm asking for these changes is because as it currently sits without the connexes sitting down there, anybody that takes food in the lower campground is in violation of the Green Book because there's no place to put it according to our Green Book. So before the lower campground opens on Friday, we need to have this resolved.
Seconded.
I have a seconder. Any discussion?
Good question.
Josh?
The question is, we used to pertain that to the upper campsites too, who didn't have, because the connexes weren't, we had like in the old Ops Clinics was like food storage for people and people who do not have permanent structures
Right.
in the upper. So are we including this in the upper? Are we just targeting the lower? Or
But originally, I was only thinking about the lower, and I didn't think about that. So if you want to make a friendly amendment to it to include the upper, I would entertain that.
yeah, just any, as it would say, any site without a permanent structure or a food storage container, or however you want to phrase that.
Right. That
Proper food storage.
yeah, a hard-sided building or something like that.
But like like no, yeah. So my friendly amendment would include upper campsites, so like not leaving any food out in the anywhere in the campground, not just the lower campground, and site should be cleaned. And just because if you walk into any site, there shouldn't just be a bunch of food hanging out anywhere.
Can I,
I agree. And I think-
Question.
point of order? There is actually a policy, we actually have a policy item on page 16 about at part H. It says members are encouraged to limit damage to their property caused by opportunistic wildlife by 1, securing storage food in lockable containers, 2, cleaning dishes and cooking surfaces, barbecues after meals, and 3, not keeping garbage in their site overnight. These are listed as guidelines. So it sounds like if Josh's friendly amendment goes through, it's no longer a guideline, becomes a rule, which makes it enforceable. Just want to be alive to that.
So we had a second. Is that correct?
Yes.
Before the point of order came through.
Second.
Who was the second?
Derek.
Derek was the seconder. Okay. Discussion.
Why specify between lower camp and upper camp and just make it a camp rule?
We could. We can. It was my understanding that the trash rules were that way for both sides of the campground. I mean, that you had to take your trash out at the end of the night. That was something that we established a few years ago when we had problems with the bear. So unless I'm mistaken, the only reason I was thinking about the lower campground was just simply because of the Connex removal and that it put anybody that went in the lower campground, at odds with the rule book because they didn't have a place to store their food. That's the primary purpose of this. So
Yeah.
So right now, anybody that goes down in there with food is in violation of our green book because there's no place for them to store it.
I think what we
Okay.
just do is remove reference to the lower campground, and instead of saying, and in addition to like in a locked bin or in a locked in a building that can be locked. We could just have to add, a building that can be locked.
Right,
Or
but not for
kept in
the
a solid building.
not for the lower campground. And then there's also sites in the upper campground that don't have buildings to lock food into.
That's why if they don't have it, they would have to keep theirs in the same kind of containers you're talking about for the lower campground.
Well,
Okay.
If we worded it as a secured container, structure, or building.
That would also work.
Right, that's what I was getting at.
Okay, so let's back up. Let me go back here. So what you want to say is,
Can I offer another a suggestion, Mike?
please go ahead, sir.
You've got this thing I just mentioned on page 16 that says members are encouraged to limit damage to their property, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got the secured storing of food in lockable containers.
So
Okay.
can we just
Maybe just
change,
tweak that language.
we can change the language in that from encouraged to shall.
Shall. And you can remove the limit damage to their property caused by opportunity. Just say members shall secure food, etc. Strike out all that ancillary language.
Yeah.
I would like to withdraw my previous motion.
Second.
And then is that a motion, Craig, that you're
Yeah,
making?
I would, if you're gonna withdraw, that's
I'll
done.
withdraw.
Then in which case, I think what we can do is simply move to amend part H on page 16 of the camper's guide to strike out where it says members are encouraged, to strike out the words "are encouraged to limit damage to their property caused by opportunistic wildlife by," and just say members shall, and then securely store food in lockable containers, clean dishes and cooking surfaces, and not keep garbage in their site overnight.
Okay, do I have a second?
I
Seconded
do
by
have a
Charlie
question
Hill.
from- I do have a question from
Looks like
YouTube.
Lawrence has a question.
Okay,
I just wonder, do we have to, mention anything about that they should not be storing food or anything in their personal tents or?
I think that's already there's a section of the green book that tells them not to store food in their tent that I am aware of. Yeah, it's in there. So I'm sorry, any other questions?
A question from YouTube.
Okay, question from YouTube.
The question from YouTube states, most coolers people have, I don't believe, are latchable. Are new coolers required that are latchable?
Okay, that's a fair question. Why don't we just drop the latchable thing to coolers? Latchable containers are closed containers and closed coolers. Like, I mean, I think it's unrealistic to expect everybody to go buy a latchable container at this point. So, especially since it's just got dropped on everybody. So, can we? Can I make a friendly amendment that we take out
Sure, of course.
latchable containers and latchable coolers, and we just roll with containers and coolers? Sorry, I'm cutting out a little bit up here. So,
Yeah.
then I
Do
make
you
that.
want to include structures?
Well, I mean, like Mike, if it would be given if it's inside a structure, that's a closed container, like, right? They're not saying we have to. Nobody's saying you have to keep it in a closed container inside your structure. We're just saying if you have your food out in your site and it's not in a building, it needs to be in a closed container, right? So if they're not in their campsite, the food needs to be put away in a closed container. If you're not in your campsite, your food needs to be put away in a closed container. That's inside your RV is a closed container. So I don't think that's too confusing. So so I have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion about?
Second.
Okay. So we have the motion and a second. Any discussion about the friendly amendment? Okay. So we're going back to Craig's motion with the friendly amendment. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Question's been called. Everybody that's in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries. I apologize, guys, that took so long. Let's get back to the meeting and Mr. Charlie Hill. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Well, believe it or not, Memorial Day is not this weekend, but the weekend after. Continues to be a challenge getting ready for this event. The first party is normally a big challenge, but this year it's amplified with us losing a week of setup time. Rest assured, we will make it happen. We always do. We'll pull it together one way or another. Ticket sales so far. So far we've sold 38 season passes at $220 each, plus just over 100 individual party passes for a grand total of $12,900 so far. Keep in mind, the season passes for regular and seasonal members are only available until May 17th. And also, week of pricing goes into effect for single party tickets for Memorial Day weekend at the same time. I highly recommend getting your tickets before that, or you'll pay more. And I always like it when you have to pay more. Okay, so Bar Connex. We received all the new stainless bar equipment last week. Matt Schaefer got all the tables and shelving units assembled and is going to tackle the liquor cage next. We'll begin stocking and setting up the bar this coming week. We need to be ready to pour some cocktails very soon here, so we got to get it ready. Thanks to Matt for all his hard work on getting all the equipment put together. I will say with the move of the Bar Connex, the layout of the party site is very different. It's going to be really interesting to see how the site flows with the changes. So, party site erection. Mike Thompson led the large team of volunteers that showed up to get the party site tents up. It was an all-day affair, but we got it done. The truss is also up and ready for lights. We'll start getting sound and lighting set up this coming weekend. Expect that there will be sound checks occurring here and there throughout the coming couple of weeks. We'll do our best to keep the loudness limited to daylight hours. Our first liquor order of the season has been placed. We're trying something new this year by pre-placing orders rather than going shopping for liquor. I'll let you know how it goes. Shopping lists for other supplies have been created and handed out. Supplies will begin arriving at camp this weekend. Georgetown Brewing will be supplying us with heavily discounted beer again this season. So a big thank you to them. I just gave a full rundown of all the events happening Memorial Day weekend at our last meeting, so I will spare you that. But I just wanted to really quick put out reminders about our themes. So Friday night's meet and greet is union suits and animal onesies. Saturday night's main event is Neon Jungle, a kind of blacklight safari vibe. Sunday's party will be a mystery. We've talked about a theme, and we will probably announce something like that weekend, and it'll be something that you can find around camp to dress in for your theme is kind of what we're thinking. So more to come on that.
One year, a long time ago, Charlie. Sorry, I should have raised my hand.
Oh, you're fine.
We did garbage bags and we just went and bought a whole bunch of those larger ones and made them available for people and made I had like white ones and black ones. It was really creative.
Yeah, we've done trash for clothes, things like that. I was leaning towards something like keeping with the forest jungle kind of theme and having to forage for your outfit in the forest kind of thing. But we'll see. Well, we've got some ideas pumping around the marketing committee. We'll come up with something fun. So we are looking for a location for Saturday nights after hours for Memorial Day weekend. Traders won't quite be ready to host yet. So if any sites are interested, please reach out to me. And then most of the 2026 merch, the hoodies and t-shirts are already at camp. I'll be bringing up the last couple of boxes this weekend. The plan is to have it ready to go on sale at the host hut for Memorial Day weekend. And then the last thing I have is XL Bears is interested in bringing a bear weekend back to camp. Right now, we're looking at potentially July 17th through 19th. This is a smaller group, historically less than 50, so there should not be a lot of impact around camp. They are possibly looking at renting Site 500 and the party site. So more to come on that as details kind of shake out. That was what I had for my report. If there's any questions or comments, I would be happy to take them at this time.
Charlie, I have a question.
Yes.
Are we putting the new inventory? Mike and I are going to count the old inventory. Are we going to put the new inventory on the Square store so people can pre-purchase and pick those up at Host Hut?
I think we keep it simple this year. Let's just have the merch available to buy at the host hut, is what we were thinking.
Okay, just wanted to know if we needed to add that to Square. No.
So all the hoodies are the same price and all the t-shirts are the same price. So we shouldn't really need to differentiate between last year's and this year's hoodies. They're all going to be $50. Anything else from anybody?
I have a question. Are we having Doghouse Leathers come up and do any events this year as well?
Yes, Doghouse will be sponsoring Black Forest, White Towel, and Jurassic Park this year. So they will be sponsoring our DJ for all three of those events, and they will be setting up merch tables for all three of those events.
And will we be advertising any of our merch during those as well, or just theirs as well?
They will sell their merch at their table, and we will have our merch available at the host hut.
Any other questions? Nobody else? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Craig Maynard, sir.
Good evening, everyone. So with my responsibilities as Vice President of Member Relations, my duties cover three main areas. One is the Rules Committee. Currently, as it stands right now, we have two matters that have come in through the processes. The first matter was expedited and did not go from, it went from, notification was sent out, there was no response. And administratively, the matter was addressed because it didn't require adjudication. So it never went to the second subcommittee. We have a second matter that has come in. And as I understand it, is still, I think, at the third stage on second stage of notification to the individual. Or it's going to go out. So we have two matters. We'll wait to see what happens on it. There is still an outstanding matter from 2025 that needs to be resolved. We're kind of stuck at at the intake stage on this thing. Internally, the subcommittee is still working on how to address it. Moving forward, out of the Rules Committee and into the Care Committee, I'm happy to, I'm mixed feelings here, as these things always go. The chair of the Care Committee has indicated he's unavailable for chairing that committee, but available for committee work. So a new chair for the Care Committee is going to be Lawrence Cummings. Lawrence has extensive institutional knowledge, which is extremely important in understanding the context of whenever we're dealing with any of the subgroups of the Care Committee, such as compassion for those people who are enduring hardships and losses at their time in their life, institutional knowledge around those members, the awards, great amount of institutional knowledge. Again, once again, has been obviously the longest standing board member at TRC, and of course would be pivotal in making sure that we do the recognition where people have made donations in the past. So Lawrence has had a ton of leadership roles at camp, one-time vice president of operations, one-time vice president of development. So definitely comes with a skill set that we very much appreciate. The Care Committee, though, is a relatively new matter. Obviously this is a bit of a different skill set, but obviously he knows how to lead. So he'll be working with me, and as we develop this relatively new process, do the handoff from Millie, which is great. Millie did some fantastic work, as we know, over the winter, and the search for Norm Osei, getting the awards issues recognized, acknowledging just all the stuff he's done in that end of the world, and also getting the our terms of engagement and so on. I forgot the exact language, but he's got us the purposes language down. So he's done some good work in that area. So I'm happy to announce this transition. With respect to if I can just circle back on the rules matter. As the board knows, the individual on the first case that I cited for this year has made a request to have the disposition of his case appealed to the board. I just communicated with him offline, and so I'm going to propose an in-camera session at the end of this meeting, which effectively is an adjustment to our agenda. So all of the board members, I believe, has received his email with his submission to the board on the disposition that resulted. And then finally, the sergeant at arms role. Again, I'll just mention here, usually sergeant at arms is kind of the enforcement hand of meetings in case people get unruly. You guys are all on screens right now. I can't do anything. So that's the light side of these things, obviously, but the more serious side is I'm also the parliamentarian for the board, and I'm supposed to provide counsel to the president. So in terms of those responsibilities, there hasn't been any activity as of late, any new activity, I should say. So that's it from my end of the world. The floor is open for questions and comments.
I have a question.
Yep.
For the matter that needs to be reviewed, you're talking about the executive board hanging back to review it because that's where the appeal goes, correct?
He's made the appeal to the board. So why don't, as the board, they can decide whether we kick it back just to the execs or
appealing a decision. If a member does not agree to the decision of the rules committee, they may appeal by completing the member complaint and attaching it to the rules committee written response and submitting it to the executive committee for review.
Okay, well, in that case, the execs will take handle of this, and I'll ask that the execs stay on for afterwards. And then I'll let because the member is actually watching now.
Okay.
So he can take notice that the executive committee will address this first. And then if he depending on its outcome, he may have the option to then appeal to the board.
That's correct. If we let the board go over it first, then he loses his ability to have a second appeal. So it's best that we do it this way. So
Okay.
that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. No further questions? Floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me get back to my thing here. I'm sorry. Okay. Josh, what do you have from us from the treasurer's office?
We're still doing pretty good. Thanks for everyone for, controlling their spending before we have a lot of money coming in. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we should see a cash flow bump in revenue. But as of right now, we are okay due to everyone's thoughtfulness and waiting to hit me with the big punches until a little later in the year. The tree work didn't come in as much as we expected also, so that was a huge success to that team there. And then everybody else. But if anyone has any questions about individual budgets or accounts or anything on the profit and loss statement, please let me know and we can go over those.
Anybody have any questions for Josh?
Yeah, just one from me. can I suggest, or would it not be a bad idea? There's the question. That we do a budget revision either next month or the following month when perhaps Gary has some harder numbers. We can take a look at the actual cost of tree falling and adjust our budget numbers. So right now, my reason for this is that right now the projected budget I think is in the minus high five figures, end of the world, and I could be wrong. Let me just see.
No, I think that's I think and after we get past this party and we open,
Yeah,
I think we'll have a better understanding of diesel costs, everything else, what everything else is going to be for power and internet and everything else. Just as a side note to that, just so everyone knows, we did their promotion came through with Starlink, so the host hut will have its own mini Starlink dish down there as well. Because I need to collect the money from the people on the host hut, so we have internet, reliable internet that's our own, and we can charge stuff. So we'll have internet down there all the time, Millie and Danny and whoever else works down there. So that it was a great, and it's 50% off the service, so it's like $45 a month for unlimited high-speed internet on our little travel Starlink thing we can put anywhere. But yeah, I think definitely a budget review. I think going into July, the July meeting, we can have a revision because I think by that point we'll kind of have a really good grasp on everything, and then we can see where we actually are landing. Thank you, Craig, for that idea.
okay.
Any other questions? Okay, Gail.
So the little committee I put together to review the campus guide, not the bylaws, just the top part of the campus guide. So I have a review ready to go to the.
I'm having trouble understanding.
You can't hear me? All right. So the campus guide I sent out with a group that we did a revision, to look at it for a revision. It's ready to be viewed by the board. I will send that out probably later on tonight. What I will send you will be the current campus guide, so it's easy to compare. We put it through Chat GPT and get sort of their vision of what it would look like and pick out the inconsistencies. And then I did an executive summary of the volunteers who helped on the committee, what they came up with, the issues with the campus guide. So you will get an email to that to review, and maybe we can discuss it at the next board meeting. Health and safety, that's another hat that I have on. We're ordering new equipment for the camp. It's coming in slowly. We have 2 backboards or spine boards ordered with C-collars. So if anybody falls and has a major injury, they can be a little easier carried out. So the backboard or stretcher, if you want to call that. We have a new AED that was bought under last year's budget that came in at the end of season. We've had an AED donated. So we're putting those packs together. I have a first aid kit ordered with OTC meds or over-the-counter meds to be stashed at the host hut. So they will have, some assistance with first aid or emergencies that might help there. And then my goal is to have emergency equipment or first aid equipment at the furthest distance, which would be down Trail 6, I believe, and then the host hut, and then up near the potty tent. So during a potty or any type during the camping season, if there's emergencies or problems, we have equipment located easily to grab. Because if you haven't picked up the blue bag, it's very heavy. Mike, you have a question?
I don't.
Millie.
Oh, sorry.
Who is Mike?
It
So,
says Mike Farris.
another good location, we should ask somebody, like we have our little canopy that's all four walled. We
Mhm.
could keep one in there down at the beach. It probably would be a good idea to have one down there.
Okay. They have small first aid kits that you can place. Steve, you have a question?
Well, I mean, if we have a group of semi first responders that are CPR AED certified to do response, and we have something down at the host hut, although out on the beach would be well, it makes it difficult for environmental um elements when it comes to exposure. So if we had something at the host hut and we have the responders that are going to know where and when to grab the item and how to access it from the host hut, I don't know if we need something fully out on the beach. Anybody have anything else?
Well, I just think if we have something that's going to be able to respond to like a big cut, for example, that we can wrap it up as quickly as possible. That in like I said, ours, the one that Robert and I have, has at least they're not full walls, but they're walls enough that it would protect it enough from rain and such.
Well, and a part of me thinks about last year when the pub event happened and we had the massive high water influx, where a lot of things on the beach got either no, they didn't get it washed away.
Stuff did get washed away, or we could ask bushwhackers if they would keep it in theirs because they're farther up on the beach.
Well,
I
and
just
that's
think
why
that
I was thinking, I mean,
We're kind of going out into the weeds, guys.
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
We're kind of going out in the weeds, guys. So let's this is stuff that we can talk over emails, like how we're gonna do this and stuff like that. So
Okay.
try to get moving along here. Is there any other
All right.
questions? Gail, do you have more?
Yes, real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Vaccination reminders. COVID has not gone away. RSV is another infection that usually it's the elderly population, which we do have on camp. So it's reminded to update your COVID vaccination. CDC says every 6 months you should be updating your COVID vaccine. So it's just a friendly reminder that it's not mandatory. And then tetanus vaccine, as we are restructuring our tent sites or cabins or doing even volunteer work. If you step on a nail or have a nasty cut, that you need to make sure that your tetanus is updated, and that's every 5 years. So keep an eye on that. And then safety glasses is one of the other things I wanted to encourage, as we have wood chips flying around and trees coming down. Please be aware that they should have safety glasses on. And that's all I got.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Just a quick comment.
Go ahead, Gary.
I'm on a specific regimen of the vaccinations that might not be the same as what's required from the campsite because of my,
So
Um,
there's no requirements, Gary.
requirement.
okay,
No
all right.
requirements.
So
There's no
I'm
requirements.
just saying, I may not have it when the
That's
campsite
fine.
requires. Okay, all right.
We understand your position. This campground requires no vaccinations. Let me say that again. This campground does not require vaccinations. I don't want that to get out.
No.
Like, no, absolutely not. That is not what we're
It's a-
doing. We were just talking about recommendations for people, especially our older populations here. So these are all just recommendations.
That's all it was, is a recommendation, friendly reminder.
Any other questions?
Just one.
Okay, go ahead, Craig.
Gail, did you want to touch briefly on the executive working meeting that we held where we were discussing the recommendations we're thinking about going to the board about changes to the bylaws in the area of responsibilities?
I not prepared to touch on that. It's something that I think Stuart should do with
Okay,
everybody. So and we didn't talk about that, and I would feel uncomfortable approaching
Okay.
it. So I suggest we table it maybe till the next meeting.
yep.
Okay. So let me get going here. Mr. Ferris, do you have anything? Michael?
No.
No? Okay. And AJ, how about you? Do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, perfect. And D, do you have anything? No.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I have absolutely nothing.
Okay. And Brandon Weston, do you have anything for us?
Piss packs and fire blankets will be coming up this weekend if they arrive on time. Diesel is being delivered. We're getting that set up. Propane they won't deliver until we're below 30%, but we'll deal with that when that comes. And I'll look at the diesel price and come up with the final pricing and post that at some point. Otherwise,
Okay.
no.
All right, perfect. I appreciate all your work on that. Danny, do you have anything? Did I skip you? I thought I skipped you.
No. Is there a spot on the website like where lost and found is gonna be?
Actually, do we have a lost and found on our website?
Well, there's a box in host hut. So I don't know if we want to put that on the website.
Okay, we could talk about that. Does the box have anything in it right now? Do we know, or is it
I
empty?
wouldn't assume so.
Okay. We can definitely talk about that. So I don't think we have anything at the website, but we could definitely talk about the powers that be in the coming weeks about getting something like that done if that was what everybody wanted to do. So if that's all everybody has, we don't have any listed old business. Does anybody have any new business that they would like to discuss? And I see no hands for new business. All right, well, that means we need to set the next meeting.
I move that we do it on the 16th of June at 7. It is the third weekend, but there's 5 weekends that month, or 5 Tuesdays that month. The 9th seems just, or whatever that is before that, seems a little early.
So I have a motion for the 16th of June at 7 p.m. Do I have a second?
I second.
I got a second. Discussion? Okay, call the question. All those in favor say aye or raise your right hand. Opposed? Like sign. And the motion carries. All right. And with that, I think we are at adjournment.
Can the executive stay behind?
Yeah, okay. Before we adjourn, please, all the executive committee members, please stick behind. I want to thank everybody for attending the meeting tonight. And I wish all you guys a great night.
Thank you, everybody, for your hard
Thank
work.
you.
Thanks.
And then whoever's in control of the broadcast and the recording needs to cease the broadcast, please.
Stop the broadcast. Hold on, get to it.
Hold on, I need only executive committee members, guys. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, guys.